Good job, Craig. You found the record button.
It only took him like 30 minutes.
Well, he had to tell us all about the wonderful taco bar that he got this week.
I mean, how much
Everyone
would
loves
you
a
want to
good
pay?
taco bar.
Yeah, how much would you pay for a taco bar? $10,
Are you talking about a
$20?
good one or like a
the best
mediocre
ever.
one?
The best
Like
you've ever had.
$90 probably.
$90? Yeah.
The
$90
best.
is a great price for a taco bar.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah,
Seems
as long as
legit.
it's not Taco Bell, I think you're paying $90.
Yeah.
I mean, I've paid $90 at Taco Bell. Does that count?
You're a fool.
He's probably not lying either. Like
I know.
I had to feed an entire punk rock band by myself. It took $90.
Okay, that's
fair.
Yeah,
Okay.
45 of it was just Chris, but everybody else had to have food too.
And this was like early 2000s Taco Bell, so tacos were cheap.
65-cent tacos. All right, well, we're the Grumpy Dungeon Masters, not the Taco Masters. We talk about role-playing games and stuff.
That.
Well, okay. I do make a lot of tacos.
I'll be a taco master.
Anyway, I'm Jay, joined with my co-hosts Christopher, Christian, and Dan. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hello there.
Please stop.
All right, we're all here.
All right, so what do you guys call a player that has too many D&D miniatures to the point that their storage of said miniatures has gone completely harebrained crazy, and they're unable to find the miniatures that they need anymore?
I call them Christopher Waples.
So disheveled. You ruined the joke, Jay.
No, I didn't.
You called it me. I have been looking.
Sounds like you need some organization skills, buddy.
Yeah,
I do need some organization skills. So I'm running my Christmas game twice this week. I was scheduled to go play an actual Krampus D&D game with a couple people from AL, and I don't know what happened, but we all got emails like middle of last week after we registered and got confirmation that we were ready to play, that we were now moved to the waiting list. So we were like, oh, that sucks. So I was like, you know what? I'll just run my Christmas game for y'all on the time that we were going to play the game. So I also told all my AL guys, like, hey, I will be running the Christmas game instead of AL normally this week for the last game of the year. You know, first 8 people that shows up gets to play. So I effectively was able to kind of like split the group in half unintentionally. And I spent some time getting ready today, and I found my Krampus. I found my Santa. I got all my goblins ready because goblins are used a lot. I can't find any of my Mephits. I don't know where they are. Mephits, I use them a lot.
They left.
They left.
I mean, they're mischievous little fey elementals, man. Yeah, they fucking left.
I don't doubt that they left.
They're at Craig's house.
I got a couple more boxes to look through, but I had I thought I had a container full of Mephits, but
you do. It's just hidden from you. You've put it somewhere.
Yeah.
You'll find it after the game is over with.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And I have placeholders that I can use instead of the Mephits. I got my snow monstrosity. I got the 2 main ones, so I'm good to go. I got to remind me I got to get my reindeer out of my box, but I know where that is. I found that today, so I'm good to go. So what I was doing was I was buying the hyper tough interlocking storage containers from Walmart. Okay, and I've been buying them for like the past decade. So I have like maybe 50 in total. And all my miniatures are kind of like strewn throughout those boxes, which is great because they all lock together. They're easy to move around. I use them all the time. They're my favorite thing to store them in. And my plan was to use my little brother label maker and just print out what this box is and what's inside the box. I don't have to open every one. I could see it all at a glance.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never done it. It's been like a decade.
That's weird.
And so I started doing it some today. I finished like the Undead box and labeling some of the bigger boxes like Spelljammer and Feywild and whatnot. But man, I need to sit down
and
do that. And just Now that AL is
Yeah,
over for the year, I got to go
listen,
through all of my
I am
things.
completely unfamiliar with your plate, and it's just weird that this is happening to you. But
Yeah,
good luck.
Dan's never had to deal with this problem
Never
before. Yeah.
once. I've definitely not bought an expensive 3D printer in order to print shit that I realized later that I already had copies of. Definitely have never done that. And don't look in my miniatures boxes is what.
Yeah, I'm afraid of getting a 3D printer because I know if I do, I will print out too much stuff and never print anything
Can I
again.
just interject here? Anyway, Bamboo Labs is having a great sale, and they're not supporting the Grumpy Dungeon Masters podcast, but if they'd like to, we could work in an advertisement every episode. And Christopher Waples would love to showboat on his stream. You're an awesome printer. Anyway, go ahead.
So
Yeah.
I know I would use it too much and then get annoyed by it, and it would break, and I will never fix it. It'll just sit there.
Yep, that's what would happen.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I never got the miniature bug. Like D&D and tabletopping can be very expensive, especially if you're a collector like I am. But if I was also collecting minis, I mean,
Yeah.
I would have nowhere to store anything because I don't even have enough places to store the books I've got,
Yeah.
and I'd be really fucking broke.
So one of the minis that I have is I have the 4th edition Orcus mini, and I think I told on the podcast that it was sitting in a store in Virginia. It was never selling, and eventually I offered the guy like $80 to buy it when he had it like priced at 150 or something like that. And I've had this Orcus mini. I never used it, but eventually I found one use for it one time. And I was actually able to use it again in Adventures League this week because Orcus is pretty much the big bad for that kind of Borderlands campaign I have going on. The Cult of Chaos is actually a Cult of Orcus, and I was dropping hints through that. Very, very subtle hints. Players probably wouldn't know, but I would know because I know a lot about the Orcus stuff. And they were having a final battle confrontation with them this week. And one of my players brought in his Orcus miniature to show off to the players. Like, this is what Orcus looks like, guys. Look how awesome this figure is. And it kind of ruined and deflated me bringing in my Orcus miniature for like him showing up at the end of the fight.
So you went out and ordered you a 1st edition metal Orcus, didn't you?
No. But I would. I don't know how expensive that would be, but I would.
Very.
But
Yeah,
I got to at least show off mine,
1st edition
and they
Partha Orcus miniature. That's just whatever.
Yeah. I got to show off my Orcus for a little bit, and they kind of compared to it, and mine is bigger and bulkier, and the 5th edition one is just kind of like floating there with a goat head. Kind of weird.
Oh, so if you can find one, Grenadier Miniatures has an Orcus.
Yeah.
And
the problem is it's only like
they're
the
tiny.
size
Yeah.
of a standard large miniature.
Yeah, these are the old minis, but they're not super expensive.
Yeah, you can actually get them
30, 40 bucks. Yeah.
It's actually significantly cheaper than the 3rd, 4th, or 5th edition miniatures.
Yeah.
Which are between 75 and 250, it looks like.
Wow.
Which one's 250?
Probably
Your
yours.
4th edition one.
Oh, okay.
Actually.
Yeah,
3rd edition you can get for about $20. You can get a Rage of Demons unpainted for 50, and Icons of the Realms 5th edition for 75. I think I got the 3rd and the 5th actually, but do not have the 4th. The 4th one seems to be the most expensive. Probably the fewest printings of it.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah, no one bought it. So, but I like my
actually get it in the original box for the Grenadier miniatures for $40. That's pretty nice. Wow.
Yeah, I still got my box. I never got rid of it.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm running my Christmas campaign. I guess this area is trying to have people start more D&D games at their bars, which is kind of weird. I don't know if that's happening in your guys' areas of parts of the world, but
Around here, no, but I know up around Raleigh, that's
Oh, it
Raleigh,
absolutely
Durham's
is
definitely a thing.
in the Atlanta area for sure. It has been for
Yeah.
years.
I mean, even the store owner for Zenergy wants to start that kind of thing essentially, where it's like, hey, I want to serve alcohol and food, and just have people show up to play D&D and Warhammer and whatnot.
Is that a
And
thing here, other than that one gamer bar?
So your Battle and Brew, Joystick, and my parents' basements are the three that I can think of that people
Yeah.
absolutely can drink, buy food, and play games in. In
I love
fact,
me
actually, the
some-
bartender at the local German restaurant near my old house, would DM we on the weekends at Joystick. So yeah,
I
Yeah.
do love me some Battle and Brew.
which if I know of three, and I'm not exactly, I've never actually been to one on a game night. I'm sure there's probably 2 to 3 times as many in that
Yeah.
in the Atlanta area, because I mean, you know what? A lot of adults play D&D and other RPGs, and it's nice to not have to go out to grab stuff and for a nice drink and decent food without having to leave. So why not?
And I think too is like when you have to rent a space, scheduling gets a little easier because you have to have everyone kind of commit to that time before you pay for that space, or
Mhm.
the space is always there and everyone's going to pay to show up anyways. And usually there's like other things like you know other board games or whatnot to play there. And so like even if your group does ditch and it's just you and one other person, at least you guys can maybe play some 2-player board games while you're doing everything,
Yeah.
So not a total waste. But yeah, I mean that's the brunt of it. But yeah, I need to get my miniatures organized. God damn, it's gonna take me forever.
No, just you sit down, you turn on some movie or TV series, and you just work on it while that's going. That's what you do. You just
I understand the concept of doing it, but you don't understand the amount of organization that I'm going to have to do.
As somebody who runs a reselling business from their own house, oh, I absolutely understand. I have
No,
so much shit. You have
it,
no fucking concept of how much stuff.
no, yes, I mean I knew my father's house, so I have a
Yeah.
concept better than most.
Yeah,
But
you
what I'm
probably
saying
do,
is,
actually. Yeah.
but what I'm saying is that organizing stuff onto shelves and organizing that out is the same as like handling a stock room. And I've done that before. I've organized plenty of stock rooms, and that's one thing. The problem with the minis is like I could start, let's say, an Underdark box. Okay. So what do you put in the Underdark box? Well, it really depends on how many minis you have. Well, how many minis you have, you don't know. So, all right, I'm going to start throwing all the Underdark specific monsters in this box. So we start getting all the deep gnomes, all the Dwagar, all the Drow, all the Myconids, and then all the crazy Underdark monstrosities like the Hook Horrors and the Umber Hulks and who knows everything that's under there. Those are the things I can think of the top of my head. So now your box fills up, and now it's too many.
Now
So
you
now
have
what
two
do you do?
boxes. You have
Now,
two boxes
now
of
you have
Underdark.
2 boxes named Underdark, or do you start a separate box for the Myconids and the Drow and the Duga?
No.
Okay.
You have
So if
Underdark.
if we're going through organizational methods, as far as miniatures go, I'll share what has at least worked for me, because for a while there, I didn't have a painting station, didn't have room to have paint anything, and I bought a whole mess of like third edition through fifth edition D&D minis that were just pre-painted just so I could have them. And the benefit to those is that you don't really care if they get a little bit mucked up and just kind of sit on top of each other. You don't need to put them in foam containers so they don't mess up your paint job or anything like that. So I, like you ended up going with Walmart. I ended up going with I think there were Home Depot like toolboxes that
Yeah.
have basically just different little slots, and they also have some removable containers within them. And
Yeah.
and it was actually very nice for when I was actually moving about and gaming and bringing my miniatures and stuff with me. I would have at this point in time, I think I have 4 of these toolboxes that are filled up with miniatures.
Yeah.
And one of them was like basically just a box of miniatures specific for whatever I might need for the game that I'm currently running. So like when I
Mhm.
ran Curse of Strahd, it was just stinky with undead and werewolves and shit like that. Uh, but the other boxes are like the box that is basically humanoids. All sorts of humanoids, NPCs to PCs, and then I'll subdivide those little tiny areas with like mages, druids, clerics, fighters, rogues. You know, somebody who's using a two-handed sword versus two-weapon fighting, just so I could relatively easily pare down where I'm looking for the particular miniatures.
Yeah.
And then, I guess when I started actually dividing up all these miniatures back in, I guess, third edition, they had a pretty great categorization about what type of, creatures things were. So you'd have your humanoids, you'd have your oozes, you'd have your extraplanar creatures, and you basically just kind of subdivide it that way. That way you just kind of know generally where these things are, and then you go specifically to where you're going to within those boxes. But the thing is, in order to do that, and in order to do it quickly, and without pulling your hair out, you basically just need to empty out all your boxes, throw everything out on a table, and start just separating shit out, and then realize that, oh, I'm going to need an extra large box for goblinoids because I have so many damn goblins and orcs and hobgoblins and whatever. And then,
Right.
you got to go down from there because, I did that for a while, and until I actually got some shelf space, like I had like overwhelmingly large boxes full of dragons, which how often do you actually pull out a dragon in a D&D game? And the answer is not fucking often at all, unfortunately, because dragons are either a game killer or a game ender for the most part until like you're very high level. So yeah, I have a whole slew of dragons, and I eventually just put them on shelves because I never really got to use them, unfortunately. But any opportunity I get to, I will.
So the thing is like, and I agree with your organization method. Like that's kind of what I started to do. Okay. But I can't have a humanoids box. I literally have so many minis. I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have a box that is dwarfs. Okay. And then a box that is uh, humanoids with armor, humanoids without armor, spellcasting humanoids, because the elves and the humans are pretty interchangeable. You can't really tell if they have pointed
Yeah,
ears or
at
not.
that scale you can, but yeah, that's fine. I have like
Yeah.
I ran Undermountain for a long time, and there was a lot of dwarves going on in that. So I had a shitload of dwarven minis. So I also had the humanoids box, but within the humanoids box, there was an extra large box within it that was just filled with dwarves and Durgar, and enlarged dwarves, and regular dwarves, and dwarven mages, and dwarves with axes, and so on. So yeah, I
So
mean, like I said,
yeah,
it's general and specific, like organizing anything in order to not pull your hair out. In my
and
opinion.
I've reached the point too where I actually have enough named figures that I thinking that I have to make a box specific to them. So like I have like all the named figures for like Waterdeep. I have Mordenkainen, I have Vecna, I have Acererak, I got Strahd, Tasha, Lady of Pain. It goes on and on and on. So I have a box I could put just those in, or I could take those same ones and split them up. So like, do I put the Acererak and Vecna in the undead box with in the spot that I've labeled named undead? Or do I put them in the specialty box? I'm thinking I'm gonna have to put them in a specialty box because I would run out. I could easily do that, but then the specialty box would kind of like fall to the side.
Well,
And
specialty miniatures like the Acererak and other named NPCs and miniatures that literally never will appear in my game are just on shelves. They don't go in boxes. They get displayed because they're impressive and cool, and people have heard of them.
yeah, but like I have Mert and Volo, for example.
Yeah, but you actually use them in your game is the
Yeah.
thing. Yeah,
But I'm going to put those in the name box, not the Waterdeep box, you know. Whereas like for the Waterdeep box, really the only thing that's Waterdeep specific is the plethora of guards that I have when they're white and yellow tabards and whatnot. So I'm not sure what to do there. I have an oppressive amount of miniatures that I have to handle. And you said spread them out on the kitchen table and then work from there. The problem with that is I did try that and I ran out of room on the kitchen table. And
Alright.
that's not even including the amount of boxes that I have yet to open that I had surrounding the kitchen table.
Plus, he has 2 cats, and if there are minis on the table,
2 cats.
Yeah, it is beneficial that I now have a basement so I can be away from my cats, because my cats would definitely destroy everything.
I mean,
Yeah,
I was
you
doing it
you
today, and the new cat was like coming over and looking at the thing, and like it batted an owlbear off the couch. I'm like, don't hit the owlbear, he'll
yeah,
kill you.
yeah, because you're not gonna actually have a whole table full of miniatures, you're going to have a floor full of miniatures.
Well, whatever works, It's you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's a great problem to have. I am enjoying it. I just got to get through with it, and I do have the other issue too, where I've like Jay, I have almost run out of room for the books that I bought, and I need to figure out a new thing for my books too.
That's
But
the
I got to get all the
problem. That's the
minis
problem.
out first, so I can get all the books on the shelves first.
Mhm.
However, there's one book I'm not going to have a problem storing,
Ah,
that's
nice
my
transition.
and that's my segue.
I was wondering when that was coming up. Okay.
I got the new Eberron book a couple days early in the mail, as it always tends to be.
Hey, Chris, did they finally actually do a really good job with using old content to create out new books?
No.
Oh, that's weird. Okay.
Okay.
But I
Go
thought
on.
they said that they were really using this as an opportunity to revisit Eberron and give you a full-fledged, meaty campaign setting.
Let me read
Yeah.
you the opening paragraph to the new book called Dungeons and Dragons Eberron Forge of the Artificer. This is in all caps, by the way. It's the first sentence of the book. This book is an extensive supplement to the Eberron Rising from the Last War. That book is a comprehensive guide to the world of Eberron. This one adds new character options, new campaign models, and new vehicle rules for your Eberron campaign. And just as a quick overview of the table of contents, we have Chapter 1, which is just the Artificer, which is the class that's unique to Eberron and everyone's favorite OP class, with its standard 4 subclasses: the Alchemist, the Armorer, the Artillerist, and the Battlesmith. And brand new in this book, the Cartographer. It has Chapter 2, which is character options, covering the Greater Dragon Marks, the Siberi's Dragon Marks, the Marks of Mystery, the Eberron backgrounds, the species in Eberron, of course, the Changeling, the Kalishtar, the Koravar, the Shifter, the Warforge, and new feats, the Dragon Mark, the General feats, and the Epic Boon feats. Chapter 3 is Bastions, which are, include all the Artificer specific bastions, like the Forge, the Construct Forge, the Dragon Mark Outpost, the Manifest Zone, the Museum, Navigator's Helm. Chapter 4 is Sharn Inquisitivities, which I haven't looked at what that chapter is. Chapter 5 is Dragon Mark Intrigue, which is just kind of like Dragon Mark characters and plot hooks in their different houses, and a different kind of like, they say adventures, but honestly, it's only a single page, so it's not much of an adventure. And then Chapter 6 is Morgrave Expeditions, covering the characters of that kind of part of Eberron. And then Chapter 7 is the airship. Appendixes are magic items, and then the art of Eberron is its own appendix as well. And this comes in costing $61.96 online.
Price, yeah.
That is the Eberron Forge the Artificer Ultimate Bundle, currently on sale for $39.99.
Is it? Hold on a second. Is it a box set like the Borderlands box set with lots of maps and cool stuff that goes with it, and multiple
Ooh,
books
no,
of NPCs and stuff, and art? You said art, so I feel like there's
yeah.
really a good art book, right?
Oh yeah, it's a great art book. It has exactly no pieces of art in it.
0? Like,
0.
no art other than the cover art?
Well, you know how I had that appendix that says art? The art of Eberron? Yeah. It's not there.
What? Did
So
they just ship a bunch of books that were missing a bunch of shit?
I shit you not. You look at the appendix list, okay, and you go to magic items. Okay. And then the next part is Appendix Art of Eberron. And there's nothing but a solid black page.
Well, you
So,
probably have
yes.
to download that on D&D Beyond for another
Yeah, that's
15.
likely the DLC.
Yeah, another
Does it come with an
$14.99.
exclusive? Does it come with an exclusive digital miniature for Sigil?
I hope so. I will say though, I think we're bashing on this a little much for thinking it's $60 product. It's actually only $30.
So, well, it's $40 on sale.
$39.95.
Yeah.
But how much if you have to go into a local game shop?
But I'm not getting digital copies of bullshit though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How much if you have to go into your local game shop and pay money for it?
$30. It says.
Okay. Thank goodness.
So this book clocks in at 112 pages.
So I have my 3rd edition book sitting right next to me at 320 pages. So
yeah, and I think this is definitely, they call it a rules expansion and they call it a supplement. They call it a lot of different things. And I'm fine with that. And I don't mind the $30 price tag on this. I wish it was a lot less. I wish it was just $20, but everyone was upset.
Get DLC for that, buddy.
Yeah, everyone was kind of upset with this release coming out. That's at least what I saw.
No.
It was delayed quite a bit.
So
if you do go into your local gaming store and buy this book when it comes out on the 9th, you do get a free small one-shot adventure called The Fated Flight of the Recluse, which is, I had it in my hands. It's like maybe 10 pages. I hadn't picked it up yet because they didn't have the collector's edition version of the book in my LGS, which is what I normally purchase from them to continue to support my store. I think this book is definitely somehow a step in the right direction, but 2 steps back in the wrong direction. Like, I want supplement books like this, but at the same time, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it is anything. Like, why is the opening sentence say that, hey, you have to go buy Eberron from the last book that's out of print that you can't find anywhere to play Eberron, and then give me this? Just say this is the character options for the Artificer for the new book. Don't call it a supplement. Just call it the rules expansion everywhere, and just be upfront to what it is.
I mean, it is technically a supplement for a book that's out of print, which that's the shitty part. If you can't buy the OG book, if they're not reprinting the original one from 5e, then they shouldn't be releasing supplements for it.
Yeah,
and that's just bad. It's just bad business.
And they kept saying that they were working really hard on this Eberron book, and no doubt the writers probably worked really hard because they were probably under a huge deadline. And again, none of this statement is a critique on the writing, the layout. It's all fantastic. Here's a positive. The layout and art to the book makes me feel like I'm actually an artificer. Like, the book just has this really cool mechanical, like, metallic feel to it with how the pages are laid out and the font that they use and the headers and everything. It feels like an artificer book. It's very akin to the 2nd edition kind of style books, where they all had the same things, but this one has like the internal kind of like format and layout. It just it's really cool. So I think the writers did a fine job. I read through the subclasses. I have nothing to report because in my quick read through, could not find a single change from 2014, like any meaningful change. And maybe it's because I don't play Artificers and I wasn't looking that hard.
Oh, it's definitely changed.
Do you have any specifics? Because I couldn't really find any off the top of my head.
I do have specifics.
All right.
The 2014 Artificer, you created your things, but you weren't necessarily creating direct duplicates of magic items. You could do that, but you could also kind of create your own thing. You had Artificer infusions, and you could choose different infusions you learned, and you could just infuse a normal item and give it the property based on whatever infusion you had learned. All of that is gone. The Artificers now just create duplicates of specific magic items, and they learn different, I guess, formulas for different magic items, and then you just create that thing.
That feels kind of sad.
Yeah, I think the infusions thing wasn't perfect, but it felt way more creative. Like you really felt like a tinkerer in which you were taking mundane things and infusing them with magic. You were creating something magic, and it wasn't necessarily just a generic magic item from D&D. You could kind of mix and match your infusions and make the thing that you wanted to make. It was a kind of crafting that made sense for a class, that it made sense to be able to do that, right? That was kind of their whole shtick.
Right.
And that is gone. It's now just pick from this list of magic items.
Which are
And
super sweet for those that are trying to twink, I guess.
Sure, the list of magic items it's not bad, but it is a very specific list. It's not just you can make any magic item you want. You have to pick from the list that is provided.
Right.
Okay.
They also left in the thing from the playtest that everyone said was a bad idea.
Which was
spell storing item, which is where you can sacrifice a 3rd level spell slot, and then you or anyone else that now has that spell storing item can cast that spell, that 3rd level spell, or lower if you want, a number of times equal to twice your intelligence modifier.
Oh.
Meaning you sacrifice 1 3rd level spell slot to imbue a ring with Fireball, and now you can cast Fireball up to 10 times. If
that
your
makes
mod is +5.
Or shield, or like there's so many good spells.
Yeah. You're giving up 1 slot, so you're to cast it way more
Good
times.
to see they're still making it so that all the power gamers can still power game. That's nice.
Yeah, I mean that tanky ass fighter that they already have a hard time hitting, who always has a shield spell ready for some weird reason. Seems like it might be a little problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there some heat thrown there, Jay?
Oh, I'm just saying. I mean, I can think of worse spells than shield for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty busted.
Who wants Misty Step all the time?
Yeah. How many times can I have Misty Step? 10 times now? Sweet. 10 times a day Misty Step without using a spell slot. Then I still have all my spell slots to cast Misty Step some
more. The new Artificer subclass, the Cartographer,
we talked about it when it was in the UA.
I don't recall you loving it then.
So, like, everything in it, basically, it's just like, it is all wrapped around Fairy Fire. You can cast Fairy Fire without expending a spell slot. You can use it any number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of once. You get portals that you can jump around. Taking damage doesn't cause you to lose concentration on the Fairy Fire. I think my wife would love this class, to be honest, because this is her signature fucking spell. People get disadvantage on, saving from Fairy Fire, I believe.
What does map
when you
making
hold on,
with Fairy Fire?
Hold on, I'm getting there. When you
everything, Christian, everything.
When you hit a creature that's affected by Fairy Fire, you do more damage to them.
Still hearing lots about maps. Yep.
And then at level 15, you can, if you're holding one of the maps of your, if you are one of the map holders of your Adventurous Atlas, you can cast Find the Path without expending a spell slot, without preparing a spell, and without needing spell components. Once you use this benefit, you can't do it in long rest. So that goes back to the 3rd level ability called Adventure Atlas. So Adventure Atlas is when you finish a long rest while holding Cartographer's tools, you can use that tool to create a set of magical maps by touching at least 2 creatures, one of whom could be yourself, up to a maximum of creatures equal to 1 plus your intelligence modifier. Each target receives a magical map which constantly updates to show the relative position of all map holders, but is ineligible to all others. The maps last until you die or until you use this feature again, at which point any existing map created by this feature immediately vanishes. While you're carrying the map, the target also gains the following benefits: a 1d4 to initiative roll and your position on the map. So essentially, they took the it's in One Piece. What is it though? One Piece.
It sounds like the Marauders map from Harry Potter.
Neat.
Oh yeah.
Your friends have a map. I mean, the idea of like, hey,
The-
you can give a bunch of people a map and you guys
So-
always know where each other are is okay.
So in One Piece, there's something called a Vivre card. And what it is you take a bit of your blood, and this person infuses that blood into a piece of paper. Then you take the piece of paper, rip off a piece, and give it to your friend. And when you hold the piece of paper in your palm, it'll point you towards the direction of where that person is. And in a world that's just a giant ocean, you don't really need a map. Just go that direction you're sailing. Okay, you'll find them. So essentially, this class is built around, or is themed around, you creating these stupid maps that let you find other players, but they don't get a benefit from that until level 15, when you can then find them better on the map.
Okay, so hold on. One other, I don't have that book in front of me, but I am looking at the UA, and if they didn't really change much, and from everything you read about Adventurer's Atlas, that was almost verbatim word for word. Our problem with this thing originally was the fact that literally every ability it gets is just a teleport. Scouting gadgets on your turn, you can expend half your movement to teleport to an unoccupied space within 10 feet.
That's gone.
Okay, they got rid of that. That's good. Portal jump as a bonus
They
action.
kept that.
As a bonus action, you teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space. At level 9, ingenious movement. When you use your flash of genius, you are a willing creature of your choice. You can see within 30 feet of yourself, can teleport 30 feet.
Yep, that.
And then the Superior Atlas, where if you die, the creature is then teleported to an unoccupied space within 5 feet of another map holder.
Yeah.
So like
Yep.
every level is just cool. We have nothing creative here. We're just going to let you teleport all the damn time.
Oh,
Like-
but they added Fairy Fire for everything else.
Yeah, there is a little bit about Fairy Fire in the UA. Third, the scouting gadgets, you could do it without expending a spell slot and some other
So-
stuff.
Well, now it's
What-
called illuminated cartography.
What I found
Totally
funny too when I was reading this is that whenever you finish a long rest while holding cartographer's tools. So I'm just picturing this dude kind of going to bed, holding his fucking pencil and a sectant in his hands as hard as he can, not to have them drop while he's sleeping. And so when he wakes up in the morning, he can immediately like scribble down and smack some people to make a map. I can't get this stupid visual out of my head. And like it's not bad. My wife would love to play this class, so I can't knock it. You know, I'm not gonna say it's not creative. I like them picking a spell and focusing around it, like Fairy Fire. You know, but it's not gonna be everyone's bag for sure.
I
I would like them to do stuff that's not around a spell.
Yeah, I don't think
Well,
the
I've
teleport.
given
I
up.
don't think the teleporting. I don't love that it's just more teleporting. I don't love that part. Fairy Fire doesn't. I don't mind a class that is Fairy Fire based, but it doesn't make sense here. If you were some sort of fairy class, some sort of Feywild thing, that would make way more sense.
Well, it's
Yeah.
Eberron.
For
They're
a
weird.
For a cartographer, the map stuff is okay. I would rather them do more creative stuff with the map. Okay, you know all your allies' position. Get the rest of the levels allowing me to do cool stuff where like you can swap positions with allies, or maybe you can allow them to move, or do stuff that revolves around what you're supposed to be: a cartographer, a explorer, a wayfinder. Do that stuff, not just I teleport and I cast Fairy Fire for some reason.
I teleport. I do it again.
So I just want to kind of bring this up, and this is kind of what I've just experienced in my Adventures League. I have one of the older players, one of my favorite players in the group, and mostly he's my favorite player because he chose the background of cartographer and then brought in his own like little cartographer set. Okay. And he sits there and he actually writes out all the maps that we encounter along the way. He's the one that I gave the blank hex grid to and said, hey, this is where the keep is located on this map. You guys have to explore from there. And so, like, he has these little 3x5 cards where he has written down and drawn out all the maps you've kind of come across, all the explanations of maps that I've given. He's drawing these things out by hand and having them everywhere. And
Do you know why that is? If he's an older player and he's been playing D&D for a while, you used to, in first edition and stuff, they used to suggest several roles that players should take on in addition to, what their character is, and not as a background for their character. It's just the things that your players should be responsible for. One of them was like the shot caller that would tell the DM this is what all the party members are going to do. One of them was the cartographer, where it was your job to draw the maps of the dungeon your party was exploring, of the wilderness. You weren't having to be a professional or recreate it, but you were having to create it in a way that you and your fellow party members could understand where you've been and where you were trying to go.
Yeah.
And that was part of what you were supposed to do as just a player in the game.
And the best part is that multiple times they've had to go back and speak to him like, okay, where we want to pull this group back here. What was there in that cave with the hobgoblins? And he'll just like flip through, pull out the 3x5 with that hobgoblin map on it, and they would make a plan, a legitimate, awesome plan. And it's worked out real well. It's been a lot of fun. And that's a cartographer. It should have been something like that. Something with involving a map. The Firefire is cool, but again, like you're right, there's nothing involving a map. I don't understand that.
Yep. Not much you can do about it. Yeah. It's not a class that I care about or subclass that I care about. I was never a huge fan of Artificers. I love them being an Eberron. But
they're all over Faerun now too, which makes it so weird that they didn't include Artificer in the player's handbook release now with some reason why they're there. As much as I hate it, and I hate the fact that Artificers are all over Faerun, it feels like it's just time for it now. And I hate saying that. But like when you have Baldur's Gate 3 with all its Artificers and all the artificing that's going on in 5th edition Faerun, the Faerun book, like just bite the bullet and say, this is how it is. Give me something without having to make it up as to why it's only the group of goblins and the random person that has it. Like, give me something more, WotC, to work off. It's a free book for you, but
yeah, they kind of screwed up the lore along the way. Like years and years ago, it was just gnomes where they sort of did tinkering and artificing, and you had the followers of Gond, and that was it. Like there was nobody else that was tinkering and doing shit like that. There was very specific subsets, and then just at some point, I probably started during 3rd edition, but it's definitely expanded way beyond that point.
And I'm fine that it's expanded. Like, it's just, I now have to keep fighting with people. It's like, no, there's no Artificers in Faerun because they haven't really pushed it through yet. And then they released Baldur's Gate 3, and it's all over that damn game. And now I was like, well, Gortash was an Artificer. Why can't I be an Artificer?
I don't know. Were there any player characters as Artificers in Baldur's Gate 3?
No.
Sure, we're not.
Dude, shut the fuck up!
It is an NPC class.
Yeah, sure.
Which is,
if you want to retire a character, sure, you can become an Artificer.
Yeah, that's actually something I'm going to talk about here in a little bit as an NPC class. So,
well, why don't you just jump into that then?
I could do that. So I picked up all those Dragon magazines from you a little while back then, and I was flipping through them as I like to do.
Yeah.
Let me find the exact page. Yeah, here we go. So it's Dragon Magazine issue 134. And I'm just flipping through, and I find on page 42 a section called Bazaar of the Bazaar. And
quite a few of those.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, but this one specifically refers back to the Jester NPC class that appeared in Dragon issue number 60. So mind you, there's a big gap. I'm talking issue 134 to issue 60, so a decade between these. But for whatever reason, whoever was right,
5.5 years.
yeah,
12
something
issues
like
a month.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they decided to write up a whole bunch of magic items for the Jester NPC class. And mind you, I did go back and look up that actual NPC class. It's it's from first edition D&D. It's very much like a bard. It has a lot of bard type, what you would think of even in current game bard type abilities, where it can boost morale and charm people and shit like that.
Like a bard. Hey.
Yeah. But there's two items in this Bazaar of the Bazaar that I wanted to talk about. And one of them, I read it and I'm like, oh, this is fucking amazing and awful. And I kind of want to use this at some point. And it's called the Blowgun of Wild Emotions. This item is a blowgun 3.5 feet in length, made of a light, strong blue metal similar to mithril. At unpredictable times, the metal changes color, sometimes glowing or even growing fur or scales. None of these changes affect the powers of the blowgun. Its range is normal as per a blowgun. Any dart fired from one of these blowguns is briefly enchanted to cause emotional changes in the creature struck by it. When a creature is hit by such a dart, roll on the following chart for the dart's effects. And the effects are envy, greed, pride, hatred, paranoia, love, sloth, euphoria, sadness, and lust. So you just roll randomly and they get one of these effects. This item affects any being with an intelligence of 5 or greater who fails a saving throw versus spells after being struck. Darts fired from this blowgun do not do physical damage. A jester is automatically proficient in the use of this and only this blowgun. Only one dart may be fired per round, and only one emotion can affect a being at any one time. The duration of effect of these emotions is 1 turn, which in D&D 1E was 10 minutes. Let's see. I lost my place. PCs struck by these darts should be role played to an extreme. While these emotional effects have no real game effect, they can create remarkable role playing situations. Anyone other than a jester who uses this item finds it functions as a normal blowgun. So I would have fun with this. This is just a way you can sort of fuck with your players. It doesn't actually have effects, but it's just role playing. You have to play hatred. You have to play sloth. You have to role play paranoia for 10 minutes. Like I almost feel like this almost would be fun in like Shadow Dark or something like that.
Yeah, that's a neat little it just cause chaos.
Oh yeah. All of the jester stuff is just to cause chaos. Like one of the weapons they have, and I'm not going to read over them, but they're literally just magical paddle boards. So you remember when you were a kid and you had like a paddle board with a fucking rubber band and a ball stuck on the end? Like that's what these are. They're just magical paddle boards that can attack up to 15 feet away that have other effects on them.
Right.
The other one is the playthings of the roller hoopers. And this is almost certainly going to make an appearance in the 80s adventures when I run it. These objects have been handed down through the generations for hundreds of years. They are a pair of roller skates and a hula hoop, both hot pink in color.
Of course they are.
Of course they are.
Yeah, obviously.
If found, the DM should describe these objects without giving away their true titles or functions, as adventurers don't know what these objects are. So the skates of the roller hoopers. Any jester wearing these skates can move at a rate of 24 inches, so it's basically double move, over any surface, water, mud, stairs, going down, etc., even over walls or ceilings. When doing so, a strange, soft sound can be heard, one that resembles the purring of a giant cat. It's the whirring of the skates. These function as normal skates for anyone else. And the hula hoop of the roller hoopers. Once this hula hoop is set in motion, it can only be stopped by the jester using it. It cannot be grabbed, but it does have an AC and hit points. The hoop erringly deflects incoming missiles as if the Jester had a protection from normal missile spells cast upon him. Additionally, the hoop blocks 10 hit points of magic missiles cast against the Jester per round and reduces all damage from giant hurtled boulders and siege engine missiles by half if they strike the Jester. Damage-causing spells with area of effects like Fireball can penetrate the hoop's defense to harm the Jester, but even their damage is reduced by 1 hit point per die of damage. Harmful gazes are dispelled within 5 feet of the Jester using the hoop. When the hoop performs these functions, it moves so fast as to become a blur. In addition to these powers, the hoop also deflects an opponent's handheld weapons to such a degree that the hoop is the equal of Bracers of Defense AC 2. When both of them are owned and combined, you also get a +1 to the initiative die roll. So just absolutely ridiculous items for an NPC only class.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the neat things about the actual Jester class though is if any items that were thrown at him, he had something like an 80 or 90% chance to catch it and be able to throw it back.
I feel like that should be something the Thief Acrobat could do.
In 3rd edition it was. Like it definitely was. Like there were builds kind of based around that. I don't think there really is in 5e though.
Just
Maybe a
with a
monk
monk.
in 5e.
Yeah.
All jesters are monks.
Yeah, basically. But that's what I had to talk about.
Well,
I
that's
love it.
awesome.
I
the
fucking
Bazaar of the Bazaar is always a fun.
yeah.
of the
I just love the
Dragon
ridiculous stuff. Like I don't necessarily use all that ridiculous stuff in my games, but I
I know.
love reading about it and just thinking about using it. And that one actually might get used because of 80s adventures.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what else do we have to bitch about?
Oh, quite a lot, I would assume. I've
Well,
done my topics, though. You've done yours.
Yeah.
Are we at an
Dan.
hour?
Oh no, we haven't made it an hour
Oh
yet.
my
We're
God.
we're at 50 minutes or so. So
No, I mean I was just going to piggyback onto all the Eberron nonsense we just went over, and uh, the old saying of "Can this just been an email?" I feel like that's what the Eberron thing should be. And bear with me here, like it's funny that you mentioned Dragon Magazine and the nonsense that was in there, but there was also a lot of great stuff in there. And like if there was something minor, like very minor, of the updates to the Artificer class, for example, from 2014 to 2024, this could have been an email blast to people with the D&D Beyond account that was free, because really all you added was one archetype, map maker guy, and kind of updated everything else. Which, I
Yeah.
mean, any DM at all could take 5 minutes to update it to 2024.
So, Waples, because you read off the list of what's in the book earlier, and like there was a section labeled for Sharn. Sharn is like the Waterdeep of Eberron, like it's the major city that a lot of things take place in. But I would imagine that they detailed that in the previous 5e book.
They did.
So, were there updates to what happened?
There's an adventure.
Yeah, I don't know. But they don't write novels anymore. It used to be they would write novels and then later on, a couple of years later, they would release a supplement to add in the updates of what happened to the novels to the settings. But
So
since that's not really a thing anymore.
the Sharn Inquisitive section goes about how, like, you're an investigator kind of doing Cthulhuan styling event or investigations in Eberron. There's a murderous warforge going on right there. Well, what's going on? So you have some investigators, some guild affiliations. They talk about like some street gangs and whatnot that are kind of going on in the depths of Sharn.
That just sounds like a 3rd edition module that I own. Like
Maybe
literally.
it is.
Very well might be.
They go through the Sharn neighborhoods, but it's just like a paragraph, maybe 2.
Yeah.
It's an overview, something you could have gotten from a wiki, and they most likely did.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of what it feels like. So when you get to the encounters, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 encounters. I'll read, let's see, this is the biggest one. It's called No Great Mystery. Identify the gnolls as agents of Dask isn't difficult. It's the conclusion most people jump to when they see gnolls involved in violence, and a number of clues back up that assumption. Interrogate the gnolls. If any of the gnolls are captured alive or questioned to speak with dead, they freely admit their involvement. Boromar witnesses. The halfling named Grezi Gorbin was attacked by a gnoll in her that called her a filthy Boromar. She denies any ties to the Boromar clan, but she admits to knowing that Dask and Boromar clan are involved in a wrongling feud. Fright inquiries. Something with the freight inquiries. But that's the longest encounter. So that's the adventure, is running all 4 of those encounters one after the other.
So it's not really an adventure. It's just
No.
here's a little bit of stuff that you could
Yeah.
do.
You start off
Make your
fighting-
own homebrew shit.
Yeah. There's no effort put to there. And I don't know if the no effort was
Sounds familiar.
I don't know if the no effort was, hey, get this out as quick as possible, or no, you can't put this content in, because they had a lot of the current big names that are working on the book. I just honestly kind of feel like they were just told to make this as small as possible.
They probably were, yeah. I would imagine there might be digital releases down the road.
Can't wait.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing, is the Flight of the Fated Recluse is a digital release, or if you get a copy before they run out of your local LGS, if they even got it, I got word that a lot of people can't get it at their LGS because they just didn't get any copies of it. So
That's not good.
I am Dan's lack of surprise.
Fated Flight of the Recluse. Okay. I haven't even heard about this. So there were physical copies of this?
yes.
Oh yeah, okay. I looked up, there's one on eBay. Apparently they're
How
super
much?
rare.
I mean,
It's
you
only
talking about
it-
with the faded whatever, the recluse thing? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. There's one on eBay that is unlisted. It is an auction. So we'll see.
I mean, my store has, I think, 60 copies total.
Shit, grab me one.
Come buy a book.
That's a long drive for one book.
They called me and asked. The funny part was, is the store called me and asked me, said, "Hey, we got this. We didn't receive any emails or any knowledge as to what this is. What do we do with it?" And I'm like, "No, that was given out because the book was delayed a month, and people were kind of like hearing things that it wasn't going to be good and blah blah blah." And that's kind of like their apology for it. They're like, "So do we just hand this out to anybody?" I'm like, "No, if anyone buys an Eberron book, give it to them."
So the wild thing is this eBay listing. I know we're not talking eBay here, but it's an entire stack of the store promos.
Nah.
So it looks like they're just, you've seen them. They're just, what, 15, 20 pages, if that. Like they're tiny. But somebody's just selling a whole
you
stack
should get
of them.
on a free RPG days.
Right. Yeah, it's free RPG day stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to grab one. I'm going to leave one on my store's D&D shelf. And like I said, I told them to hand them out to everyone that buys a book, maybe even like bundle them together somehow with plastic wrap or something.
Yep.
But I don't know.
We've talked about it recently with the marketing. And I really, really feel like WotC is just failing at marketing their products. I didn't even know this was coming out. Like,
I happened to see it on Amazon the other day when I just typed in Dungeons and Dragons to see if there's anything coming out, because there's a couple of like lore and like history Dungeons and Dragons books that I'm more interested in, and I always kind of pop in to see if they're out yet. But
but on this podcast, like, we do talk about all of the upcoming releases, and we talked about the Eberron book, I don't know, 6 months ago, a year ago, when whenever we first heard it was coming out. But since they just dropped the Forgotten Realms stuff a month ago, I definitely wasn't expecting Eberron right after it. I would have expected, sometime in spring of next year.
But it's only 112 pages. If I had to wait 6 months for this, I would
Oh, sure,
Kill the
yeah,
guy.
yeah. I mean, we've bitched about it enough on, they should be releasing a lot more physical product and a lot more often. But yeah, if we next thing we know, they're going to start doing that, and then it's going to become Magic the Gathering all over again, where you just get
all crossovers.
all crossovers and just inundated with it. Like every 2 months, it's something new.
Well, that's the other thing too, is the next actual book coming out that's like new content for WotC is the Lorwyn book.
Yeah, which
So
yeah,
You mean
which
the
is a-
DLC for the Forgotten Realms?
like
No. So it's a Magic the Gathering book for once again because the oh my God, what was it like? Strixhaven is out of print. The other one, plain whatever the other one was, it's out of print. So there's nothing
Theros.
Magic the yeah, Theros. Oh well, there was two
Theros
others.
was pretty good.
There have been 3 of them. So, but they're all sort of out of print, and now they're going to keep releasing more of this stuff. I kind of feel like a Magic the Gathering needs its core book.
Yeah,
If you're just
a
going to be
core setting.
yeah, they need a core setting book that they could do a lot of stuff with. You could make a lot of subclasses, planeswalkers, things like that, rather than just releasing, these individual
Right.
books for each of the planes.
The problem is, I feel like the individual books you can kind of make things work. I don't think the core kind of mechanics or even the way the magic and stuff like that feels in the lore of Magic doesn't really fit with 5th edition.
No, it absolutely, well, okay, it doesn't fit necessarily 5th edition.
Actually, I'm gonna have to disagree there because there have been people that have created their own, like, this is how Magic would work in D&D. And I actually worked with a guy. He was an artist. Let me see if I can't find his thing, but he developed the 5-color Magic system for Magic for a MTG setting. So it is possible to do it. And I
sure.
remember his was done really well, and a lot of people have used it, and he got a lot of praise for doing that. I'll see if I can't find it real quick.
Yeah,
But
I'm saying it
is-
doesn't
Sent it to
fit
me
with
at some point.
the current like player's handbook rules. Like the way a wizard works is not the way Magic the Gathering Magic people work. Like those two
Yeah.
do not work the same, right? You would need your own kind of class for the way Magic users as a kind of generic catch-all for that
So
in Magic.
It
I'll
wouldn't
put-
be hard.
I'll-
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll put it in podcast chat on our Discord for anyone who wants to look up. Yeah, I'm linking the author directly. His name is Phil Kearney. But he released his like interpretation of the magic symbols and how they work in D&D. He wrote a bunch of books and a bunch of different supplements for it too. And he also is an artist. He's done most of the artwork and stuff like that. So definitely give a look at his stuff because a lot of people use it, and a lot of people really spoke highly of how he interpreted magic into the D&D setting. So it's very possible, to build it and have a system that works.
All of the spells in D&D are gonna be you're going to be able to make them fit under one of the 5 or 6, like one of the 5 colors or Artificer.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't be that hard to do that. You'd have to, I would imagine he's already done it for you, so it'd probably be easier to just buy his stuff than to do it on your own. But
yeah,
That's
even has
interesting.
packs and patrons of Ravenica.
yeah,
That's funny.
But yeah, no, I think I'm not saying it you couldn't make it work. I'm saying you would need to do some rules adaptations or some rules creation to kind of say, hey, this is how magic works here, as opposed to, you memorize your spell and expend your spell slot and go.
I mean,
And
the spell. Sorry, the Vancian magic system would probably still work just fine.
I don't think so. It doesn't feel like that in Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, if you run out of mana, you're basically running out of spell slots.
I think it would work better with what in 2014 One of the few
With
things they
powers,
had
yeah.
as a variant rule was spell points as a
Sure.
variant spell system. Instead of having spell slots, you had spell points, and then you could choose to spend those however you wanted to cast different level spells, and they cost, a number of points equal to their level or something like that. And then once you were out of points, you couldn't cast spells. You were out of mana, so to speak.
Yep.
That seems to work better than just I have 3 this level spell slots and 2 second level spell slots and 1 third. Like that feels weird as far as Magic, whereas having a more free form, I have, 19 mana points and then I can cast spells however I so choose using those points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I think either one is doable. For the feel of Magic the Gathering, you're probably right. A spell point system is more on brand, at least.
That's kind of been one of my big kind of problems is that everyone wants to adapt a thing to 5e even when it doesn't seem to make sense. I think you lose some of the character by trying to hammer everything into the square peg. I know 5e is popular and there are some cool and great things about 5e, but that doesn't mean everything should be 5e.
I don't know, man. I
The hell
saw
you
that
say?
video. I saw that video TikTok trend, that viral thing. Everything goes in the square hole, man. So I don't know. I'd have to disagree there. Everything can go in the square hole.
Oh, that poor teacher
What about
watching that.
psionics?
Yeah, we should definitely cover that while we're still
Ah,
talking
shit.
about
The
Eberron.
psionics.
So.
All right.